Okay, hi there. Nice to see that you've written a set of essays for us. Let's take a look at what you did here. Okay, school is entertaining or educational only, let's say. Nowadays, society has divided into two groups. One group which believes in the benefits of an education system which is compounded with entertainment, and another which thinks that it should include only educational methods. S. I totally agree with the idea that children gain knowledge more effectively from entertaining types of lessons in the schools. This essay will explain pedagogical and motivational reasons to support this opinion. Great. Firstly, today it is more common for schools of all levels, from elementary to high school, to use entertainment in classes. This is because this kind of methodology usually helps to explain to school students crucial materials in an easier way. Interactive boards, for example, teach preschool and kindergarten students the alphabet and numbers and how to pronounce and write. Whoa, why are there so many ants here? Let's try it again. Teach preschool and kindergarten students the alphabet and numbers. How about this? As well as how to pronounce and write certain letters or numbers. All right, that would have been better. Indeed, if children participate in lectures as team members instead of being just listeners, it will positively influence students' performance. Okay, I like that. That's very good. It was just that little thing with all those ands. It was a little tricky. All right, let's take a look at your second paragraph. Okay. All right, this is, you know what, there's one other thing here. I want to remind you that just because a school uses interactive boards, it doesn't mean that the class is more entertaining. It could just be the same academic information being passed on, but just, with students doing something. So that doesn't necessarily mean more entertaining. So what I really wanted to see here, in order to say that you definitely cover the topic, is by saying that using something like interactive boards, for example, with using games. Okay, if you just said one extra little word, you would have touched this component of entertainment in the class. All right, I hope that makes sense. All right, let's see. Secondly, when children acknowledge schools not only as boring education centers but also enjoyment hubs, they could be better motivated to study. This is due to the fact here, careful, that they often look forward to the time when they can relax, especially when they study. For example, parents usually use relaxing activities, IES, such as watching cartoons, playing on the playground, or having fun with friends as motivation to do homework. Therefore, entertainment could be beneficial for teachers to motivate learners to take an interest in their subjects. Okay. I don't understand this so much. So from what I understand here, you're trying to say that basically children need to change the way they frame school in their minds? Or are you saying that if they do this, if teachers do this, then as a result, children will kind of reframe the way they look at school? That's kind of what I understand from this paragraph. Although I don't think that this itself would make a separate paragraph. I mean, that is essentially an extension of this one. So I would have liked you to develop something else here entirely. You could have talked about other ways entertainment could be incorporated into the school curriculum. Okay, so here you mentioned interactive boards. You could have mentioned something else. So you could have mentioned, I don't know, like how to incorporate games into the classroom, which I already mentioned before, or different types of activities like role play or theater in the classroom, or I don't know, learner-centered things where they watch videos or they create videos around the things they've been learning. So that's more what you should have been doing if you wanted to add an additional paragraph in favor of entertainment. Now, another way you could have looked at this is if you had talked about why this debate exists to begin with. So some people think this, but other people think this. So far you focus just on this. Well, what about discussing this? I mean, for people to believe this, is there perhaps some value in this viewpoint? And is that something you could have addressed first to see why people are so concerned with providing education that is just educational and academic, why this belief exists, and how there might be some validity to this, okay? So you could have written a paragraph on that first, okay? Even if it was just to say, no, 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 this idea is completely misguided, okay? So you could, you know, or then you can make that transition to the next paragraph and say, despite what has been said, there is clearly a case to be made for entertainment in classrooms. Okay? So that was a couple of ways you could have done this essay. Let's take a look at your conclusion before we go to the next one. To conclude, from reasons and examples given, I firmly agree that the more pleasurable methods used to teach students, the more successful graduates they would have in the schools. In the future, the percentage of schools that use new types of enjoyment in the classes will only increase because of technology. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so I've given you my feedback on this essay. It's really well written. The structure is very good. So that's great. I mean, you've got all the main things that you need in order to do really well. What we have to do is just work on your task achievement a little more, okay? So, which is normal. I mean, at this stage, most people, well, a lot of people have a problem with task achievement. So let's take a look at your second essay. Okay, enjoyable activity, better than reading. Let's see. It is believed that entertainment is more helpful to develop children's competences and creativity rather than reading. I agree with this concept in terms of parents participating in the process of their children's development. In this essay, social and mental aspects of this idea will be explained. Okay, fine. Firstly, when children are involved in activities which are pleasurable to do, they almost always try to share their own ideas regarding these enterprises. This is because children feel themselves as team players, so they can interact with their parents as adults and get socializing skills, okay? For example, in the game Monopoly, children have to negotiate and discuss deals with others, which are important skills to learn as they mature. Therefore, such events help young people to build their point of view correctly. All right, fine, so socializing skills, okay? Secondly, supporters of the concept of reading books may be convinced, okay, you need passive here, that it is important to fill the curiosity of children. However, the mental abilities of the children, which they have earned through entertainment, can be useful in their future. For example, scientists have proven that the game of chess from a young age is necessary for the development of strategic thinking skills in children. Indeed, in the future, they will be able to mentally solve life issues much better. Okay. In conclusion, for the reasons mentioned above, I personally believe that parents or guardians should spend time with their offspring by interacting in enjoyable activities to develop not only social but also mental skills. In the future, they will become successful people only if these activities contain educational content. All right. It's a beautifully written essay. I really enjoyed reading it. It flowed so nicely. Grammar, vocabulary, no real problems, just some minimal issues. So let's talk about what the big problem in this essay is. Can you guess what it is? Let's see what you talked about. You said socializing skills. Perfect. That's a skill. Here, what did you talk about? You talked about strategic thinking skills, mental abilities. Great. No problems. And again, you talked about them here. Mental skills and social skills. But what are you supposed to talk about? There it is. Creativity. Okay? So better skills, yes, and more creativity. You see, the people at IELTS are really very specific in terms of what they want. You can't just argue the one side and not the other side when you see this and. You have to include creativity as well. So even though I really enjoyed your essay, it was well written, fantastic. If you didn't include that aspect of creativity, this is totally going to lower your score for task achievement, even though everything else was excellent. Okay, you're going to find your essay dramatically lowered because of this issue, and that's a shame. All right, so the takeaway here today is I want you to be more cautious of these questions and just focus on them a little more. Pay attention to them more and really make sure you understand what the question is asking you. All right? On the whole, good job for your first essays. They're fantastic. Just let's fix this issue. So what do you need to do now? You need to correct these essays based on my suggestions. You also need to create an error correction list where you write down all the errors and what the corrected version is. Then you also need to write a new set of essays. So 3 things you need to do. Send everything back to us and try to do it within the next day or so you can apply everything you've been learning. I'll let you get to it, and I will be waiting to see your next set of essays. Good luck.